This is part 5 of the crochet beginner series where we learn how to make this bag, and I'm very excited because this is the first part where we get to utilize stitches we've just learned. Today we're learning how to make a plain granny square and a color change granny square. Granny squares are my literal favorite thing. There's so many projects that you can make with a granny square. I also just want to let you know, even if you are not part of the series, you can still follow along on how to make this square. Before making this, you should feel comfortable knowing a double crochet and chaining, and everything else I will walk you through. Let's get started. So we're going to need your ball of yarn and your 5mm hook. Here is our granny square with color change. Here is a granny square without color changing. It's easier to see each round here. This is our first square where we start from the center and go out. Instead of a row, we need to think rounds. So each of these colors is a round of a granny square. So we're going to be starting in the center with round 1. The granny square is made up of double crochet clusters, and a cluster is 3 or more stitches placed in one spot. If you look up here, 3 stitches are placed in one space. So it's made up of clusters, and also chain 2s create the corner. So here's a cluster, chain 2, cluster. And that's here too, it's just hidden by the next round. Under these gray stitches right here is a chain 2. There are 2 ways to start a circle like this: a magic ring or a chain 4 slip knot. We are going to start with the single color granny square, which honestly is probably going to feel a little bit more difficult than color changing because the rounds blend together. It's a lot harder to see what's what on this one, but I'll do my best to help you through it. So for the center, I'm actually going to show you the chain 4 circle method for the plain, and I'll show you how to do a magic ring when we get to the color changing square. For the chain 4 circle method, we're going to need to make a slip knot, which, just like usual, we're going to take the tail up, wrap it around our fingers, take your hook under, grab it, and while holding that, pop the loop off your fingers and pull. Then we're going to chain 4. So you're going to take your hook in front and pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to find our first stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to stick our hook into that stitch. And then what I'm going to do is grab the rest of the stitches under here. And so right now I have my hook through the first chain, and then I grab the rest of those chains just to hold them steady. Yarn over, pull my yarn through the first chain and through the loop on my hook. And that's a slip knot. And now if you stick your fingers, there should be a hole. You just joined that chain to make a circle. So what we're going to do is chain 1 just to lock it into place. So now what we need to do is we need to do our first round, which is a total of 12 double crochets separated by 2 chains. So, like I said in a previous video, we're going to be using the chainless double crochet instead of a chain 3. Many tutorials will use a chain 3 as the first double crochet, but I prefer to use the chainless double crochet. We're going to stick our hook into our ring that we've made and make a single crochet. So insert in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then if you remember to make the double crochet, it's a single crochet on top of a single crochet. So we're going to insert our hook into the front of that single crochet, pull up a loop, pull through 2. And then let's mark that. Right in the top. That is our first double crochet. To make this as seamless as possible, we just made the circle, and then let's say we've made this left double crochet of the cluster. So we're not going to finish this whole cluster to start. We just did this left one. So we're going to chain 2, go into this one, chain 2, do this one, chain 2, do this one, chain 2, and then we'll finish with 2 more double crochets to finish that cluster. Hopefully that makes sense. So we made the first double crochet of a cluster, but we're going to do our corner. So yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 1. That's our chain 2, that is a corner. Now we're going to place 3 double crochets in this hole from the same spot that we put our chainless double crochet. Remember, to make a double crochet, you yarn over, insert your hook into the hole, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we need to make another one, yarn over, into the hole, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Make sure you're not going to place a double crochet in this hole. This is our corner. We want to make sure we're placing the stitch in the center. So spot your double crochet, that's the bottom. You want to place the next one in that same spot. Yarn over, insert in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So if you can see, that is our first full chain 3 cluster. Now we're going to chain 2 for our corner and place 3 double crochets in the center again. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the same hole, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. I'm going to go a little bit faster. I'm not going to explain the double crochets really anymore. Hopefully you remember how to make the double crochet from our double crochet block. I'm going to go slow, but I'm not going to talk through it as much. So that was our first double crochet, and now we're going to place another one in that stitch. That's 2, and we still need our third one. So hopefully you can see, here's a 3 cluster, chain 2, corner, and that's our next cluster of double crochets. Now we need to chain 2 for another corner and put 3 more double crochets in the same hole, right in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That is 1. 2, and if you feel like you're running out of space, just kind of shove everything to the side. It'll all fit. This is my 3rd one. And there's our chain 2 and another cluster. So we have 3 of the 4 clusters. So we need to chain 2. That is our last corner. And then if you'll remember, we started our 4th cluster, but we need to finish it. So we need to put 2 more double crochets in the hole because we already have the 1 right here. So I'm going to move everything and put 2 more right next to it. So we have 3, chain 2, 3, chain 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3. They're just kind of split. So where we put our stitch marker, you can pull that out. We're going to slip stitch to the top of that double crochet, which is actually our chainless double crochet. So you're going to stick your hook through the top 2 teardrops, grab your yarn, pull it through, and pull it through the loop on your hook. And that seamlessly joins the round. Each round starts in the corner, so we need to slip stitch to the next corner. Right now we're on the cluster, so we're going to stick our hook through the corner, pull the loop through, and the loop through on our hook. That's our slip stitch. So I want to show you why I start the round with only some of the cluster. So traditionally people will start by making an entire cluster and then continue around, and then they would end with a chain 2 to finish that corner, and then they would slip stitch to the top of this double crochet. That works perfectly fine if you're doing a color changing block, but it always had annoyed me because then you have to get to the next corner, which means I have to slip stitch 3 times to get over here. I don't know, it seemed kind of like an unnecessary step. If I just start here, work my way around and end here, I only have to slip stitch once. So it saves me a little bit of yarn. Also, I didn't like the way the slip stitches look. So all that to say, it doesn't necessarily matter where you start. You just need to make sure you have all of the stitches at the end. I just wanted to mention that that's why I start kind of differently, and we're going to do that on the next round as well. I was editing and I wanted to add this visual that after the end of that first round, you could place 4 stitch markers in those chain 2 spaces just to help you understand where the next round needs to go. We just slip knotted into this corner, so this is corner 1, and we're going to be placing stitches here. Corner 2 is here, 3 and 4. Those are the 4 places we're going to be placing stitches for this next round. So you can place stitch markers here if you think that that will be helpful. It should be in the corner now, no matter which way you did it. And we're going to start off with 1 chainless double crochet. I'm not going to chain 1. So I just did my slip stitch, Now I'm just gonna immediately single crochet 1 and then single crochet into the side of it 2. And that is my double crochet. We're gonna mark that. So then, just like the last round, after that first double crochet, we're gonna chain 2, creating our first corner. This round is made up completely of corners, which means it's 3 in the corner, chain 2, 3 in the corner, all in the same hole. Oh, that's an end. 3, chain 2, 3, all in this chain 2 space. We're going to finish this 3 when we get back around, but we need to put 3 more in this hole. So yarn over and make our first double crochet. And I've seen a lot of people do this, so I'm going to mention it. Don't mistake the hole that you just made for the chain 2 space. While it is a chain 2 space now, it's not the chain 2 space that you're supposed to be working in. You're supposed to be working in the previous round. So this is the chain 2 space we just made. You don't want to work into that one. You want to spot the bottom of that double crochet and work into round 1's chain 2 space. So not this one, but this one. So I need to put 2 more double crochets in that space. Alrighty, so there's a 3. So we have some of our corner chain 2 cluster. We're going to finish that once we come back around, just like we did in the first round. Now all we have to do is skip to the next chain 2 space and put 3 double crochets in that hole. Again, don't accidentally put it in this hole. Stay in that same hole. Two, three. Push all that to the side because we need to chain 2 for our corner and put 3 more in the same stitch, in the same hole that we just put these last 3 in. So see where they're coming from? That's where the next 3 double crochets need to go. That is a completed corner. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So we have 1.5 corners done. Here's our next corner. So we're going to go directly into that corner, no chaining or anything. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in that stitch. And I just keep my fingers right over where I need to insert my hook. So that was 3 doubles. Now we need to make the corner, chaining 2, and put 3 more in that same stitch. And there you go, 3 double, chain 2, 3 doubles. So if you can see, we have 2 corners done almost this corner done, and we still have to do this corner. So 3 doubles. In this corner, we're going to put 3 double crochets, chain 2, and put 3 more double crochets in that same chain 2 space. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2 for the corner, and then put 3 in that same stitch. Two and 3. So we've almost completed all 4 corners. We did 1, 2, 3. So we need to place 2 double crochets right in this last chain 2 space, the one that we started in. You can see our 3 doubles, and the first one we started with is right here. So right where that first one is coming out of, I need to place the last 2. It might seem like it's a little bulky, but it'll be just fine. So 1 and 2. And we can take our stitch marker out, and then we need to slip stitch to the top of that first double crochet. So stick your hook through, grab your yarn, pull it through and through the loop on your hook. And now you can see there's that final 3 that we just completed. The first one we started with, and then we kept going around, and we came back and we finished with the last 2. That's how each round after this starts. To finish this round, we still need to slip stitch to the corner, which is just 1 slip stitch away. So in the hole, grab your yarn, pull it through the hole and through the loop on your hook, and now we're back to the corner. And hopefully you can see the 2 rounds. 1, 2. You should have a nice square going on. Each round you add stitches. So this was the middle, and it had 1 cluster on each side. This row has 2 clusters on each side. That's what we just did. This row has 3 clusters on each side. So it has our corner, but it also has 1 in the middle. Corner and a cluster in the middle. And then if you look at the next row, which we'll do after this next row, it has 4 on the side. So it has the corners and 2 clusters in the middle. And if we did another row, there would be 3 clusters and a corner. So it just grows each time. So now, instead of just putting stitches in the corner holes, we also will be putting stitches in between where the corners are. So you can see this hole here. So there's the 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. And on this side, 1, 2, 3. Those are the holes that our next round will go into. Here is a visual representation of the next round's spaces. So it's a little crazy, but we have the 4 corners, and then we have added 4 centers as well. So those are the holes we're going to be placing our double crochets into for the next round. And it's pretty much the same as the previous round. So we're going to start off with that chainless double, just going straight into the corner, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and then single crochet on top of my single crochet, and then I'm going to mark it just so that we don't get confused. And then we're going to chain 2. We're going to put the rest of the 3 in the corner. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to finish the rest of that cluster when we come back around. But that's the corner. Now here's the next hole. You should be able to see the previous rounds 3 and 3, and the hole that is made in between them. That's where we're going to place 3 more double crochets in that hole, not in the chain or anything, just straight through the hole is where we'll put our hook. So 3 double crochets right in the same hole, not this hole that we just made, in the same hole. So hold it so that you don't forget. 2, 1 more, and 3. And now we have our corner to make, which we just did a bunch of in the last round. If you remember, our corner is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So we go into this hole, into the corner, 3 double crochet, right where you just stuck your hook. 3, chain 2, 3 more right in that same hole. So now we have a side to do again. Just 3 in the side here. 3 double crochets. Also called a cluster. A double crochet cluster. There's our 3. And then we get to do a corner again. So 3 double crochet. Still in that corner. 3, chain 2, 3 in the same stitch. 1, 2, and 3. There's our corner. And then we can do another side. You can see our corner, our next corner, but there's this hole in between them that we need to place 3 double crochets in. 1, 2, 3. Then we have our corner, 3 double crochets, 3, chain 2, 3 in the same stitch, 1, 2, 3. And then we have our last side before we finish that corner that we started in. So 3 in this stitch, 1, 2, 3. Sweet. So I do encourage you to mark your first stitch because I've seen a lot of people get confused and then instead of joining after each round, they'll end up accidentally creating a spiral. So they would accidentally make another corner here without joining, and it kind of starts to spiral. So each round you have to finish it by slip stitching. Finishing a round meaning you could end the block right there. Some people accidentally create a spiral and then there's like no real stopping point. So just mark your first stitch and you should be okay. It's more confusing when there's only one color. You can see our corner cluster is supposed to have 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So we only have the 1 that we started with here. So we need to put 2 more in that same space. So 1 and 2. Now we have our cluster of 3. It's just not joined together yet. So take out that stitch marker, stick your hook through that stitch, pull on the loop through and through your hook, and then slip stitch into the corner. Grab the loop, pull it through your hook. And that is round 3. You can, like I said, make as many rows as you want. Each row gets bigger and bigger. Each row you add a side cluster. For this project, we're only making 4 levels. So we only have 1 more to do. And it's very similar. We still have our corner and our corner, but now we have 2 side holes that will place corner, cluster, cluster, corner. Those are all the stitches we'll be working into this round. We're going to create our first chainless double crochet, and then another single crochet on top of that single crochet, and mark it. Then remember, we're not going to complete this cluster yet, so we're going to chain 2, put 3 more double crochets in the corner, 1, stay in your corner, don't accidentally go into this corner, stay down here, 2, 3. So that's our partial corner. Then we have the other corner here, spot that, and then spot the 2 holes in between. In each of those holes, we need to place a cluster of 3. So starting here, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3. That's the first one. And then here's our corner. Here's our next hole. 1, 2, 3. And then we have a corner. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in the corner. Chain 2, 3 double crochet in the same corner. That's one side done. So now we have our cluster, cluster, corner. So starting with our cluster, 3 double crochets, three double crochets here, go. And then we have our next corner, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 3 double crochet in the same hole, 1, 2, 3. Then we can go to our next side, cluster, cluster, corner, straight in, no chaining needed, 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet, and then our corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet in the same hole, almost done. We have 2 more clusters, and then we need to complete our corner. So 3 double crochet, next spot, 3 double crochet, and then here is our final corner. We have to finish it. Right now it's 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 double crochet. So we need to place our 2 more in that corner where our first one is coming from. So down here, 1, 2, and then we can take our stitch marker out and slip stitch to the top of that first stitch we made, and also to the corner, slip stitch. And that is all 4 rows of our granny square solid color. To finish off, we're going to chain 1 and cut our yarn 2 lengths of the square. Cut that and then pull the loop, pull the yarn through the loop and tighten it, and there we go, granny square. So that's 4 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you wanted to continue, like I said, you would just follow that same pattern, but now you would do a corner, a double crochet 3 cluster, double crochet 3 cluster, double crochet 3 cluster, and then a corner. So each round adds a double crochet 3 cluster to the side. You can go on forever and ever if you want. So that's our granny square block with a chain 4 circle to begin. I'm going to show you how to do the color changing block now. It's very similar, honestly maybe even a little easier to do, but I'm also going to show you the magic ring start. A lot of people find a magic ring tricky. A lot of people don't like the magic ring because they don't think it's as sturdy as a chain 4 slip stitch. I usually make a magic ring all the time because I like that you can adjust the center. So for this, you can't make this loop smaller. This was made with a magic ring, and you can see the center is much smaller because I could tighten it as tight as I wanted at the end. Unlike a slip knot, we're going to start with our tail down in front of our fingers. Just a decent size tail, 4 or 5 inches. You're going to wrap it around your fingers, a lot like a slip knot. The twist of the yarn is important here. So we're going to go under the right side, pointing our hook down, grabbing the left side, pulling it through just a little bit, twisting it up. And if you see, that's going to cross my yarn. And then all you have to do is grab that yarn again and pull it through that loop. And then you can kind of I would pinch that loop you just made, pull your fingers out, and that is your magic ring. Then you can re-grab your working yarn and hold the loop. And this is effectively a chain 1. You can do the chain 4 slip stitch start if you would like. Basically, we're going to start off exactly as the other one with our first chainless double. So into this hole. So we're going to single crochet into the hole, and then single crochet on top of our single crochet and mark that stitch. That's our first double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2, and then we need to place 3 double crochets in the hole, and I work over top of the tail as I go. So 3 double crochets, right inside our magic circle that we made. And then after that first one, you can grab your tail and pull on it and make your circle a little bit smaller. Don't make it too small because you still have to put a bunch of more double crochets in there. Chain 2, 3 double crochets in the same hole. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, 3 more in the same hole. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, and then we have 3 of our sides. We just need to finish this side with our last 2 of the cluster right into the center. 1, 2. Then we can slip stitch to our first stitch of the round. Here we have 3, 3, 3, and our 3 separated by chain 2s. Now we can tighten our magic ring by pulling on the tail. Now if I was using the same color, I would slip stitch to the corner, but it doesn't really matter since I'm going to be cutting my yarn. So we're going to chain 1, cut the yarn with a generous tail, and then pull it through and tighten that. And that is round 1 completely done. So for round 2, I'm going to start with my next color. I recently found a way to make this without a chainless double crochet. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a slip knot. If you wonder how I actually make my slip knots, it's not really the way I show in a video. I put my tail down, wrap it around my fingers, and then grab that tail and pull it through. But the way I've been showing you is here, wrap, grab, under, pull through, and tighten. Either way works. But we should have a slip knot on our hook. Now the slip knot on our hook is actually going to be the first double crochet that we make. And you can join in any of the corners, but I like to join in the corner with our tail because I'm going to work over top of that corner, over top of that tail. So we're going to make a double crochet. And so you're going to yarn over and pinch your hook because you don't want to just let that loop twist around. You want to hold it. So you should have your slip knot and your loop. And then you insert your hook into your stitch and you pull up a loop and you pull through 2 and you pull through 2. And it might be a little loose, but you can tighten your slip knot now. And that's your first double crochet. I'll show you once again because that's how we're going to start all the rounds. But slip knot on your hook, yarn over, hold those bad boys down, insert into the corner, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to chain 2, make the rest of this corner, working over top of my tail. Yarn over, insert your hook in the corner and under the tail to catch that tail. Make our double crochet. That was 1, We need to put 2 more in that stitch right in the corner. Then we need to go directly to the next corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochet. All in the same spot. So with color changing, it's a lot easier to see what's left to do. Here's our next corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, last full corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet in that same stitch, and we have to finish this corner that we started with, putting our last 2 double crochets in there to complete the cluster. And then we're going to slip stitch right where that slip knot is. That's our first double crochet we made. And then chain 1 and cut your yarn. Pull through, tighten it. And that is row 2. If you see, I worked over that pink just for the first corner, and then I dropped it. And that's what I'll do for the white tail. I'll work over top of it, and then I'll drop it. So that was row 2. Now we're going to join our pink again, just like we did, making a slip knot. Starting in the corner with the tail, yarning over, holding that stuff on your hook so it doesn't twist, go into the corner, pull up a loop, still holding it, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to continue. Chain 2, 3 more in that corner, working around my tail. And then I just drop the tail, and I don't worry about it anymore. Now we have our other corner here, but we have to put a 3 cluster here. I'm going to go a little bit faster since this is pretty much the same as the plain one we did. There's our cluster of 3. Then we do our corner. 3, chain 2, and 3 in the same hole. So that's 6 double crochets all in the corner there. Then we have our side cluster. All in the same hole. Then we have our corner again. 3, chain 2, 3, then our side cluster, 3, then we have our corner, 3, chain 2, 3, we have our last side cluster, and then again we have to finish our corner, 3, chain 2, and then we need to add 2 more here to make 3. So 1 and 2, then slip stitch to the top of our first stitch, chain 1 and cut, and then pull through, tighten it. That is color change 3. And now we're going to switch back to our white and do the same thing, just a little bit bigger of a row now. Make my slip knot, making my first double crochet in the corner we left off, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, chain 2, 3 more double crochets, then we have 2 sides, cluster, cluster, corner, 3 double crochet, three double crochet, corner, chain 2, 3 more, two side clusters and our corner again, corner, chain 3 or double crochet 3, chain 2, double crochet 3, all in the same spot, 2 more clusters and a corner, corner, 3, chain 2, 3, two double crochet, 2 clusters, to finish our corner with 2 more double crochets in this hole here. 1, 2. All I have to do is slip stitch to the top. Since this is the last row we're going to do, I'm also going to slip stitch to the corner, chain 1, cut my yarn 2 lengths of the square, and then pull the tail through, tighten it, and that is our color changing block with a magic ring, which we can make that hole smaller if we want. I love granny squares. I think there are so many fun things you can do with granny squares, but here's a plain granny square, and here is a color changing granny square. We will talk about ends in another part of the video. If you have a needle, you can just weave those in, or you can wait until the time comes to weave things in. Hopefully you guys followed along okay. Please let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video where we learn the moss stitch. Happy crocheting!